Okay, guys, we're on chapter 49, The Last to See. Don't you know the lieutenant wants to have a talk with me? We go inside, sit at the table. No notebook tonight. And Grandma does not wipe down the kitchen. She and Uncle Drum stand near me. Shailene has her eye at the crack of the bedroom door. The lieutenant is jittery. He talks fast. What we get to is this. I am the last to see Calvin. Makes me sound special, but not special. And I try to think, is it true? Am I the last? Do we know it? But I think the lieutenant will not want to hear me ask it. He thumps a finger on the table. He says, Mason, this is very serious. You understand? I nod my head. He says, we have a second missing boy, and here we are with you. I swallow down on nothing. Dry air. I think about that worry I have, that I am bad luck. I say, you mean second, like Benny Kilmartin was missing first, and now Calvin? He says, yes, those are the two boys I'm referring to. I need you to tell me what happened today, Mason. Let's get to it. I wipe my face on my shoulder. My thinking goes backward. The lieutenant says, I need to know everything. Was there a trick? A game? I say, no, just a chase, and then I lost him. You were chasing him? I say, not me. You just said you lost him. Yeah, but no, I don't chase. But we were running, both of us. Then we had to split up. Then it was supper time. He ran home. I thought he did. Up Jonigold Path. But now, yes? Now what? What do you think now? I say, now he's missing and the others might have. Who are the others? I take a breath. I'm trying to hold on to the sequence in my brain. But when the lieutenant interrupts, I have to go back, catch the thing I was trying to say. I say, the others are the neighbor kids who were they? Oh, okay. That's Matt Drinker, Lance Pearson. They said they lost him. I think they meant he disappeared. Disappeared? Some spit flies with that P sound. The lieutenant is not happy. I hear him breathing through his nose, being impatiently patient. That's what that is. He will get madder. I know it. I reach for the paper towels, tear one off the roll, drag it down my face. I stop and hold it over my eyes. The lieutenant says, Mason, why were you heading into the orchard just now? I bring down the paper towel. I say to look for Calvin. I look at the lieutenant straight on. I say, I'm just like everyone. I want him back. The lieutenant says, then you help me, Mason. I try. I close my eyes. I start to see it, the chase, the map of it. It's a going backward map. I try to think of telling a story, sequence, but it is going backward. So I say the last thing was I dropped Mooney at the Drinker house, their dog. And before that, I was in the orchard, middle of the hill. I was looking up to the crumble down, this house. I saw Matt and Lance. They said they lost Calvin. Before that, they were coming around the corner of the porch. I look at the lieutenant now. He lets a breath out at me. I say, sorry, I don't know the part before. I don't know their map or Calvin's map. That piece is missing. The lieutenant makes a note. He puts his hands on the table, straightens his elbows. He says, you can be sure that we will talk to those other boys. Grandma says, when? When will you interview them? It sounds like they... Now the lieutenant interrupts her. He says, there is a process here. I will have someone speak to them. But this comes first. As far as we know, Mason is the last person to see Calvin Chomsky. But how about this, Mason? How about you walk me through this map of yours? But let's go frontward instead of backward. Can you do that? How about we begin from when you got off the bus here today? I said, oh, okay. In fact, let's go walk that map. You take me, Mason. The lieutenant gets up. The table shakes. He says, let's go out there. Let's retrace. Uncle Drum says that will be the three of us. He flicks on his flashlight. So we do that. I think it's a good idea, better than sitting and interrupting. It starts with the cluster stop. It's Wednesday quiet. 2 banana milkshakes. Then out of the crumble down with Calvin. Into the orchard paths. I walk. The lieutenant stays on my heels. The orchard is different at night. The shadows, dark fruits, some clinging, some dropped. The sweep of the lieutenant's flashlight beside me. We hike. I'm pretty sure we reach the pond same way Calvin and I did earlier this day. Tell you what, the lieutenant is interested in that pond. He says, any swimming? I say, no, too weedy, too mucky, and besides, this is fall. The lieutenant leads Uncle Drum and me, walks all the way around the pond. I tell him Calvin and I were not on that other side, just Matt and Lance were. I tell him 2 times. He brings up the flashlight, makes me squint. He says, why don't you want me to walk around this pond, Mason? Any reason why Calvin couldn't have come back this way? I say, I don't know. Makes me feel stupid to say it. I feel stupid that I don't really know what the lieutenant means. We go around the pond, find nothing, but the lieutenant calls for helpers. They come quick. He sends them out around the pond. I say there's more of the map, a part that comes after the pond. He says, you say Calvin was still with you? I say, yes. He wonders if I am sure, but I am. He tells the searchers to stay with it, stay at the pond. He tells me, okay, Mason, let's go on. So we do that. Out through the orchard, and then comes the hard part of the map. I say Calvin and I split up, was near here, not sure where. The lieutenant points at the orchard rows, the grasses. He watches my face. I can feel that. Sometimes he holds up the light so he can see me. He says, think, look, and think. Uncle Drum says, he's doing it. Give him a chance. I look up to the left and point, finger moving. I say, Calvin went up that way, on his own, but I don't know exactly where, but I went on. The lieutenant says, I'll bet you can remember. He shines that light in my face, then up that hill. He says, where, Mason? I scan. We are near it, pretty sure, near the place I saw Calvin go scrambling. I'm afraid to say it in case I am wrong. There is some part where the tall grass is flat down, a trail. We walk it even though it is not my map. The trail goes sort of toward the crumble down, but it winds a bit. I tell the lieutenant, you know, this path could be made by Calvin, or by a deer, or rabbits. It's hard to know. Uncle Drum says, you're right, could be an animal path. The trail dies away in the shorter grass now, but the lieutenant and Uncle Drum and I make a guess. We go up and across the front of the crumble down. The lieutenant shines his light all along the stony foundation and behind the shrubs. I think this, already looked here, did that myself, but I don't say it. We cross the porch to the mousy chair. The lieutenant gives that a shove. Might be because he's mad, but then we see it. Calvin's backpack drops out from behind the chair. My heart takes a hop. I say, that's Calvin's. That's his. The lieutenant goes stony-faced. He bounces his foot up and down on our cruddy porch boards. He eyes the steps. He says, I want to have a look under this decking now. It is Uncle Drum who does it, starts kicking up the boards himself. They come up easy. If they don't, he yanks on them, bare hands, or he kicks harder. I drag the mousy chair down the old steps. The lieutenant shines a light. Grandma and Shailene hear the racket. They come watch from the window. We all call out, Calvin? Calvin? But Calvin is not beneath our porch. The joists sit there, bare old bones with no skin on top. Everything is worse than a minute ago when we still thought we might find him. Weather comes in, a downpour, makes the search harder. Postponed is what I hear. I tell the lieutenant I can't postpone. I will go back to my map. Walk the orchard again. Rain doesn't bother me, not as much as wondering where Calvin is. But he says no, he wants me in. He is firm about it. Grandma wonders, do I want the rest of my supper? Because I left my plate, but I can't eat. I climb the stairs. I kick off my shoes, skip stuffing them with newspapers. I drop my pants in a heap. I don't really go to bed. I lie on top in my sweaty t-shirt, stare up at the chestnut beams. I think the Buttle house won't sleep tonight. And it doesn't. I know because I hear the washing machine filling. Later it spins, empties, spins. Then the dryer flips close. My t-shirts. Tinka, 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 tink. I lie awake wondering where I would be if I could be Calvin. I hear the rain and hope he is dry and safe. I think of the Chomsky parents. I wonder if I will see them in the morning. I wonder if they will wear sad to see you faces. I think of the first missing boy, Benny, who believed that shafts of light make the path to heaven.